Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mario with Mario Trades. So let's get right into it. Today is June 9th. The major news today is El Salvador. El Salvador accepting Bitcoin as legal tender in the country, the first country in the world to do so. So, pretty major news. I do expect BTC to get a fairly decent bump here, and we might see the price go up to about that 44 to 50K level. So that's the first news. Obviously, pretty major. The guys behind this, it's been Jack Mallers, Strike CEO. Then we got a couple other, people that have been laying the groundwork for this for the last few years. It being the guys behind Bitcoin Beach, Peter McCormack. He's been kind of involved in this as well. So, pretty major news here, guys. This is going to make the price go up at least for a little while here. I think this was kind of the bump or the positive news that we were looking for to drive that price back up to that 45 to 50K level. So that is my prediction so far, that we are going to go back up to that 45 to 50K level. What happens after that, we kind of have to see and, you know, look at the cycles, reconsider seeing what is actually going on, and at that point, make, another evaluation of where we think the price is going. So a couple other things looking at the stock market so far today. We do see Clover kind of break even today. Clover did have that insanely great run yesterday, where we pretty much doubled in price. Obviously, not viable, especially in the stock market, for something to keep going up like that. So that does need a correction. For now, once we're out of the correction, I do expect us to keep going up on the price there. Uh, Another thing that came out yesterday with rides is that they don't expect to have enough cash flow to get them through production. Now, rides being Lordstown Motors and one of the EV stocks. One thing that I've, among other EV stocks like Fisker and a couple other companies that I've been looking at for the last few months here, and they did come down from a low of about $31, currently sitting at 11. In my opinion, not the best trade right now. If a company comes out and says, "Hey, we don't have enough, cash to get us through actual production," that's a pretty major red flag, obviously, and I don't think anyone at this point really should get involved in this company. We might, on a technical level, possibly see a bounce up. It's a possibility. Does not mean that it is a good stock. Possibly, maybe, and that's a big maybe. Could be a short-term trade. Other than that, I don't think we should really be touching this at this point until we have some, further clarification as far as what's going to happen after this. Are they able to get another round of, investments going where they can clear some funds and get some cash flow to be able to get to production? So that was another big one. Let's see a couple other ones that we actually added to our list today. We were looking at CCO, which is Clear Channel Outdoors, and Clear Channels Outdoors is an advertising company. They have billboards. They do all kinds of forms, pretty much, of advertisement in malls, different spots, and they have been around for a long time. Looking at the graph here of Clear Channel, you'll see that they've had this long term resistance ever since pretty much 2009. And I do feel like we are finally going to break out of this long-term resistance here. The cycles have bottomed out pretty well, and once again, just because there's long-term resistance lines like this, they can take a pretty long time to be broken. In this case, you'll see that we've been pretty much forming this as a resistance since 09 or 10 or whatever, 2011. Same thing that you're going to see with something like let's say in the crypto market with Litecoin, for example. If you take a look at Litecoin long term, you'll see that we also here have a fairly large resistance line, and this resistance line has been kind of forming since 2013. So looking at Clear Channel, more or less the same thing. Also a long-term resistance line. These resistance lines eventually have to be broken, guys. It's not like we can just keep going until, because I mean, if this doesn't get broken, then we're just pretty much sitting at zero, which is not going to happen. So at some point, these resistance lines are going to get broken. The question is mainly when is that going to be? And for Clear Channel, it might be a breakout that we're going to see fairly soon here. Might be in the next few months. I'm going to think that it's most likely going to be somewhere in the next 6 months where we're going to see somewhat of a breakout out of this this resistance level here and going back up to that approximate $10 level. I think that should be the first stop, and then we have to kind of reevaluate from there and kind of go from there to see where the stock is going to next. Next thing is the 9 Limited. So the 9 Limited is a company based in China. Mainly what they do is, create online games, mobile games. They brand themselves as an internet company. So recently, these guys have been getting into cryptocurrency mining, and it does seem like a fairly interesting graph here when I look at it. If you look at it from a fundamental perspective, it's not that great of a company. As you can see here on Simply Wall Street's debt is not well covered by cash flow. They make less than 1 million in revenue and only became profitable this year. If you look at just more of the fundamental stats, you'll see that it's just, as far as a company, not too great. But when we do look at the graph here, we do see a fairly decent bottom, and you might even make a case that this graph is going to go over $100. I think initially a goal of about 35 is very realistic. I don't think that should be too hard to reach here, and this would be purely a technical play. So fundamentally, not too much that this company has going on. From a technical perspective, if we take a look at it, this does look like a graph that is going to go up, and I do think initially, maybe within the next few months, maybe in the next month even, maybe this will go up and hit that $35 level based on my technical analysis here. Once again, this is not financial advice, guys, just my opinion. Do your own research, and that's all I can pretty much share here. I do think eventually this has the potential to go up much higher, and once again, just based on technicals. Nothing that this company is really doing fundamentally that is that great. So couple things for today, June 9th. We pretty much hit on Bitcoin that I do think we're heading back up here, and a few stocks as well. I'll bring out another update in the next few days here and go possibly more into some other stocks, seeing what's going on with BTC then. And I'll see you guys soon.